The healthcare industry is probably the most secular industry you could think of, right? But what if I told you that there is a power couple in the industry who is unapologetically Catholic when it comes to the operation of their family-run healthcare company? And what if I told you that there's actually lots of other people in that space who are there to serve families from a faith-based perspective and give them a more holistic approach to their family's healthcare? That's exactly what my guests, Mike and Jen Shannon, are going to talk to you about today. Let's get started. So, Michael and Jennifer Shannon, or Mike and Jen as I call them, come from two very different educational backgrounds, but share a common faith and love for their family that have enabled their independently owned pharmacy to thrive in an increasingly secular medical industry. Their love for Christ and their dedication to family and the patients that they serve has enabled them to thrive where others have failed. Having met during their undergraduate studies at Virginia Tech, Michael in computer engineering and business and Jennifer in biology and chemistry, they discovered their love for each other and a shared vision for their future family and embarked upon their vocation to form a family in 2008. After Michael's years of work in corporate America with Cisco Systems and Jennifer's completion of a Doctor of Pharmacy degree and a residency program, they both thought they would continue to climb their respective professional career ladders. However, God's plans were greater, and he showed them it was time for more meaning in their lives together during a difficult childbirth of their firstborn, Lily, in 2011. In 2013, Michael and Jennifer opened Lily's Pharmacy in Johns Creek, Georgia. Never in a million years did Michael imagine that he would be the one the one of the two of them that is managing and working full-time in the pharmacy, nor did Jennifer imagine that she would utilize her PharmD to become a homeschooling pro with their 5 children, ages 2 to 12, from the one-room schoolhouse in their, I love this, micro farm in the exurbs of Atlanta. You're going to have to explain that to our audience. I know what that means, but Jennifer still practices as a pharmacist, but her role as the primary pharmacist in the family practice has changed as they both felt God was calling her to be home with their children. Michael uses his technology and business experience to streamline and operate the pharmacy in an ever-changing market and healthcare industry. The two have dedicated their lives to their family and children and consecrated their business to Christ. I love that. They realize that the true goal in life is helping their children to maintain the faith and become saints who make their way to heaven. Work in the pharmacy is a means to an end, and practicing their faith outwardly and openly in their business was a struggle at first, but has become increasingly easy and rewarding as their business has grown and thrived as a result of being truly authentic Christian leaders. Mike and Jen Shannon, welcome to Modern Catholic Family, my friends.
Thank you so much for having us.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. So tell me what you mean by micro farm in the exurbs of Atlanta.
I'll let you.
So, we
Beautifully
were in
written.
the suburbs. We were right in that Alpharetta, Johns Creek area. We lived about 10 minutes away from the pharmacy, actually. And right around COVID and all the craziness that was going on, we decided we needed a little more land and a little more space for our family to grow.
Serenity.
And thrive. And just feel like we're getting away a little bit when we leave. So it's about 50 minutes outside of, from the pharmacy, 50 minutes north of the pharmacy. And just so it's not the suburbs anymore, it's more the exurbs, right? After that, you start getting into really rural, lots of farms, so we just have a few acres. We have some chickens and goats and, a bunch of animals, barn cats, a big barn, this stuff that we kind of do around here that on the road to self-sufficiency. I wish we could be more, but we keep working at it every day. So
I mean, you wish you could do more, dude. You guys are doing more than a lot of us out here. In the chickens, do you get fresh eggs every day?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we do, and they are so delicious.
Oh, that's
you
awesome.
cannot go back to regular eggs after you.
All right. I'm going to make an appointment to come have breakfast with you guys pretty soon.
Anytime. I feel the difference when we eat them. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I want to get right into it. You guys, when I asked you before the episode, if this were a master class, what would the title of this episode be? And you brilliantly called it How to Be Unapologetically Catholic and Happy in Healthcare. So tell me, was there a pivotal moment or a light bulb went off for you guys when you realized that was even possible and it was something that you needed to do?
I'll let you.
No, go ahead. You're the healthcare provider here. I'm just the engineer.
Yeah. There have been a couple of pivotal moments, and
Yeah.
I feel grateful to God that we had such a strong relationship with our priests and deacons at St. Bridget. But I'll say this one that really stuck out to me. There's a couple that maybe I'll share. But
Yeah.
I had a prescription come in for an abortifacient. This was years ago. We rarely ever, we never saw those. And it was for a young girl. And it came in, and my body just immediately, you're like, oh, like, no, this is not, nothing about me relates to this. And I just kind of stared at it. I even printed it. We didn't even process it or anything. And I reached out to Deacon Tom at St. Bridget, and I said, and I was going through CHIRP at the time. And I said, I'm really having a hard time. I have this prescription that came in for a young girl. I know in my bones that this is for an abortion. I don't know what to do, right? Because you see how pharmacists get hung in the square, right? When you were like, I'm not doing that. You're going to have to find it somewhere else because I don't believe. But that's not really the right answer either, right? Like, push the person away. And I remember Deacon Tom saying, you have to think, how would Christ handle this situation? Think about how he handled the tax collector, right? He invited them in.
Yeah.
So he said, but everybody's put in your path for a reason, and you have to use your faith to handle that situation. So I really prayed about it. I actually had all these adoption documents printed. I went through all this, and I just prayed and prayed and prayed. Please, God, how will I handle this? Because I love their family.
Yeah.
And, that young girl decided not to even go through with anything. I ended up not having to do anything in it. I thought, it was the intercession, right? There's always an intercession when you ask for that. And that was probably one of my first experiences. I don't have to be so quiet about my faith. Everybody needs God in their life. So maybe I'm not. And we were so new still, right? I wasn't loud about how Catholic, how we live our Catholic life or that, but that was probably my first moment where I was overcome with fear and what are you supposed to do as a Catholic? But I think the one that when Mike looked at me, I had a patient whose mom was terminally ill, and I said, please let me pray for you and for her. And she took a step back and said, why would you do that? Why? I don't want you to do that. And she walked out and never came back in. Wow. And I sat and thought to myself, what is going on here? Why is it bad when you offer to pray for somebody, right? It shouldn't be bad. And we shouldn't be, as Catholics, quiet about it because we have to get souls to heaven. We have to get as many as we can, right? And so I think for us, that was, and Mike being much more loud about whatever topic you can find, said, we cannot be quiet, right? You shouldn't be quiet about your prayerful life. So I think that was many years ago, the first.
And one thing you forgot to mention with that when you were talking to Deacon Tom about that abortion potential is he said, God gives everyone free will, right? They're going to make their decisions and they're going to walk their path. But he also has a tendency to put people in your path that can change your free will, right? So even if it came down to it and she was going to go through with it, right? Jen was going to be a person in her path to have a conversation, to maybe change her mind or to maybe bring her closer to Christ and realize that what she's doing is not ideal, right? So even if he didn't work in that particular moment, even if his plan, if what we thought was his plan didn't work in that particular moment, he was still working, right, through Jen as the provider in that situation. So
Yeah, that's beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautiful. So then how did it blossom from there? Because I mean, you guys, I walk in your pharmacy now, which by the way, anybody local to the Johns Creek area, okay, Lily's Pharmacy is awesome. From the moment you walk in, first of all, you walk through all this Catholic merch, right? I should have worn like some of the socks that I've bought from you
And it's
guys over
not
the
it's not like
years.
old Catholic merch. It's
Yeah.
like modern Catholic
Hipster.
stuff.
No,
It's
it's
like good
cool.
stuff.
It's cool. I've got several. I've been wearing the t-shirts all week.
Yeah.
You know, and my mother-in-law came down from Rhode Island for our son's graduation yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, I've got that one. Yeah, the Padre Pio shirt. I love that one." Yes, like, but it's so cool. I mean, you guys have all this like Catholic merch and everything right in, you know, at the front of the shop, and then walking in, people are just happy. Like you guys immediately, especially because we know each other, and I've seen you guys do it with other customers who walk in. It's like, you know, Norm walking into the bar at Cheers, like,
Cheers.
Norm, you know, Jim, what's up? Like, it's awesome. So how did that pivotal moment, those pivotal moments, how did they kind of help blossom things for you guys? Where did it go from there?
You want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so a little known secret about Jen is she is a super recognizer. So we would go, I'm telling you, we would go to parties or we'd go to a function or we were even having a child. I think we were having Mikey. And in the middle of having Mikey, she looks down at this doctor or whatever that's helping her. And she's like, I went to kindergarten with that girl. Her name is this. She's a twin. And I haven't seen her since first grade. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. How do you?
You're like in the middle of labor.
So to your point about the
It's like too much information.
it freaks people out sometimes because she never forgets a face and she never forgets a name. So you can imagine how well that goes with people walking into a pharmacy. They're already uncomfortable or anxious or sick, right? They come in and there's somebody that knows their name immediately. So I have really had to hone my skills a lot. I'm by nature an introverted engineer, business guy. I want to be the guy behind the curtain clicking the buttons and pulling the strings, right? I don't want to be the guy right out front, but I've had to learn from her tremendously on how to create that warm, welcoming environment. And I think just through her passion for her patients and her commitment to her faith, that's what has brought all that stuff to fruition. The coffee bar out front is so that people can sit down and talk and have a coffee. And her next thing is wanting to give out these books to people. I'm like, those books are $30 a pop.
It doesn't matter.
You want to give it with every prescription? She's like, yes, the world needs to read this book, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But like she's just crazy.
I feel like patients in a healthcare experience we'll take it from hospital to outpatient physician to pharmacy. It's a mess and a disaster. And you get maybe 4 or 5 minutes, 7 minutes max with your healthcare provider. And by the time that patient gets to us, and Lord knows what they've been through by the time they're actually trying to get their prescription, they often look troubled or afraid or scared. And I think that what is always missing is human touch for them. And so for me, I don't care who that person is, and maybe they didn't want my hug, but they were getting one anyway. I think it makes a difference.
Coming in hot.
Feel like someone, what were you going to say?
And we hire people that do the same, right?
Yes. Like,
we don't hire people that come from a chain pharmacy experience or just because they have experience in a pharmacy, right? In fact, I want people that are just solid, good, loving, caring, compassionate people who you can teach them the computer stuff. You can teach them the prescription names, but you can't teach somebody how to have a good heart and care for people. So
or believe in God, right?
I want people that are going to replicate Jen and go out there and hug somebody when they need it, or go and comfort somebody, walk them to their car, bring something to their home at night if they're in a pinch, right? So those are the kind of people that we hire, and I think that's what helps the business look and feel the way that it does.
Yeah, you said it then, like bring something to your home, and that's one unique thing about your pharmacy is that you guys have a delivery service.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I mean, and there have been times when, and I mean, a lot of people know this, especially through the podcast. Like our a couple of our kids had really struggled with depression, and there were some moments where we didn't want to leave the house to go pick up medication. And I mean, the fact that you guys would bring that to us, like that means the world. And I know it's a service that you provide, like a value add, but there's something deeper that goes into that than just, hey, we'll drop this off at your home. It's like,
And sometimes, especially with the elderly people that are homebound, you should have seen it during COVID. I mean, we were
oh,
delivering like crazy when people couldn't leave the house.
yeah,
But especially the elderly people, sometimes that delivery driver is the only person that they actually touch or see in that day,
yeah,
right? So it's more than just a delivery of a prescription.
Right.
It's a warm heart, a personal connection to somebody. And a
And
lot of our patients will have our delivery driver's phone numbers. They'll call them or text them. I'm like, well, that's maybe not the best way to do it, but whatever. I mean, they're
but
friends,
I
right?
think
So
there are many times that they walk into a patient's home and they don't realize what they were about to walk into, right? Like it's not
yeah,
always just a quick transaction or a hi or a hug. Like there have been times where they walk in and all of a sudden they're helping to like resuscitate someone or calling an
oof,
ambulance. I mean, it is
man.
not I guess it's not just some random person, right? Like they're people
yeah,
that are extensions of us. So
yeah. It's like truly full service. Talking
yeah,
about
it's really
resuscitating.
full
Holy
service.
cow.
Sometimes I'm like, whoa, that wasn't in our scope, but we went there.
Seriously. That's crazy. So, from the perspective of, like we said at the beginning in the intro, talking about how, the healthcare industry, and you guys said it, in the bio too, like you, it's such a secular industry, the healthcare industry. And I know I've experienced it before, and even recently where, I mean, I won't get into details, but we had an issue, and I know that Megan called you earlier
Mhm.
this week and talked about it with something that was prescribed to our daughter that we were just like, this is not working out for us, and we look back on it now, and it's like, what, how are people in the healthcare industry not able to see what you guys see as far as the whole person, and not just their physical health, but their spiritual health? How do you even mesh all that? And there's so many questions out of that. I guess the best way to ask it is like, yeah, how do you get people to in your industry to kind of rally around that idea? Because it's not just you guys, right? There's other people. But we had lunch the other day, and it was a real challenge to think about, like, I don't think I know any healthcare providers who really have our spiritual well-being in mind. But that's important for you guys, and you guys also seem to know others. There's like people like hidden out there. So
Yeah,
I don't know,
we
just
are.
yeah,
I
talk
mean,
about
I
that.
think part of the problem is not problem for us, but we own our practice, right? So
Yeah,
we don't have to be afraid. But in a
yeah,
giant practice of 40 providers, there's a lot that could happen to you if you say the wrong thing or a patient gets mad about something. And
yeah.
the internet is a dark curtain of a weapon, right? Someone could go online and roast you for,
Yeah.
whatever. And so I think that some of that is fear, right? Not will I lose my job if I say this or do this, or if I don't know this person and I say I want to pray for you, what will happen, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that is why you don't hear it. And I have so many colleagues that are Catholic and they love their faith and live it so beautifully, but you wouldn't know it if you were in an exam room, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, a lot of providers keep that divider, right? Like this is my personal
and we are,
faith life and this is my work life. And they don't cross that boundary. And on the other hand, there are a lot of providers that have no God in their life.
right.
A
Yeah.
ton. I mean, especially, I would say, I mean, you can correct me wrong,
No,
especially in the teenage and young psychology arena. There's a
Yeah.
lot of godless providers out there I look at these strong Catholic families and good people that are having trouble with their kids. I'm like, why are you sending your child to that godless provider?
Yeah.
And I know it's because people don't know
there's
where the
not
other
a lot of
options
options, right? There aren't
right?
a ton, but
Yeah.
you
Do you guys
have
have any
to.
stories around that you can share?
Yeah, so we there's a particular provider, actually more than one, I'd say, and we in Johns Creek, and I can this can correlate with maybe from right before COVID building up, but the children in our community are being medicated heavily. Like it's no longer like, oh, that one child of that family has anxiety, or this one has depression. It is now, this is a epidemic, right? Like, and it's not, and it is not just COVID. It's not just one thing. I think part of the problem is we have providers that aren't helping them seek a spiritual level either. They're just writing, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's not wrong for a lot of the kids. I think that there's a balance, right? Like when a patient receives a medication that is really helping them, you see that person thrive again, right? Like I always say, if it's the right one, you will see your child just the way you know them, right?
Yeah.
But if it's the wrong one, or it becomes this cascading effect, the damage that occurs is blatant, right? You see these children spiraling, they get another med added to treat another side effect of another drug, and all of a sudden they're 13 years old and they're on 6 medications. It is scary, right? And as a pharmacist, you kind of live on an island. Like you can call the doctor and say, hey, this patient was put on this, and this. There are all these drug interactions that might occur. And the doctor will say, well, we're monitoring them, continue on. Or the doctor didn't know they were on those other meds because they have 3 other providers. So we're in a really weird crossroad where providers don't have a lot of time. We have a lot of middlemen between providers and patients. But when you have doctors, particularly the same ones writing the same drugs for kids across
family members or people,
right?
It's like what?
You start to wonder, like, what is going on here? And I don't know how to fix this, right? I don't know how to fix that problem. But what I do know is that never in any of those prescriptions are there prescriptions to go to mass on Wednesday morning or go seek adoration. I have a Catholic provider that is her first thing she says. And it's really hard to find people like her, though, right?
To your point about resources that could be available to people, right? People don't know what's available to them. And her doctor and somebody that we send a lot of people to, she leads with your first prescription is an hour of adoration every Friday.
Carrie, I love her.
And you'll have, but there's other providers, right? To her point about working in big health systems, one of our good friends is an ER physician at Northside Hospital. He can't live his faith in that hospital. I mean, he can live his faith personally, right? And he can live his faith in how he treats people. But there's so many protocols and the way you have to treat people. And, unless you're in private practice and unless you as a patient know how to seek out those private practices, it's going to be really hard to navigate. And you get stuck in that secular healthcare world that is just ruining children in particular. And it's coming after our daughters big time.
Yeah. I believe it. So then, for people listening to this or watching this, what would your recommendation be as like a starting point if they want to find a Catholic provider that truly lives their faith? I mean, are they seeking out, a pharmacist like you guys? Like what's a starting point?
Yeah, I really, and not because we own a pharmacy, but go to your Catholic pharmacist, right? We know the doctors, right? And not all of our pharmacists are Catholic in our pharmacy, but they know the doctors too. And they have beautiful faith in God. Like they see the breakdowns in healthcare and it all trickles down into the pharmacy, right? People have viewed pharmacy as like, I'm just going to pick up my medicine. Your pharmacist is your hub because we are dealing with all of your providers. So we have gone out of our way to surround ourselves with people who share our faith. And that means our dentist is Catholic, our provider is Catholic, because I know at the end of the day, and whether they're loud or not about their faith, they want what is good for our family, right? They care about us personally. So you have to find those people.
And I think you find them through networking in the Catholic or even Christian communities that you're involved in, networking in your church, going to, even if it's not, I don't know how many loudly Catholic-owned pharmacies there are in the U.S. Probably just us. But
No,
I think if you go to even your local independent pharmacy, I would bet 9 times out of 10, that owner is there and is probably an older Christian dude that's going to help you get what you need, right? He'll at least be able to give you some guidance, right? So start by supporting the small businesses in your community that are aligned with your values, and then your networking will grow.
Right.
Yeah,
I think I've moved towards, if it's a small healthcare entity, you are going to get better care. Like if you're walking into this giant building and there's lots of fancy waiting rooms, and you will get lost.
And ask them during your first appointment. There's nothing wrong with asking them. What's your spiritual belief? Do you have a religion? Do you have a faith? Do you believe in God? Like those are.
And if they're not, pull your kid out of that appointment, right? Because they don't care if that child's soul goes to heaven. But I do, we care. I am so distraught about the kids in our community because I'm not even the primary pharmacist, but I see the dispensing. And I told Mike, and I told you when we went to lunch, how do we stop this? Because it has gotten out of control. And it's because there's a lot of godless. And
the godless government is trying to go around all of it too by saying, okay, here's a great example. You have to come into the pharmacy. You have to talk to a pharmacist to get Sudafed because they're worried you're going to make meth out of it, right? But now, effective, 2 months ago, anybody can walk into a pharmacy and buy birth control over the counter.
Gas station. You can get it anywhere.
It doesn't matter. And I'm not, listen, there are different uses for hormone therapy for people. We are not a hard, no hormone.
No, not at all.
You have to be real careful with that, right? But I do think it's wholly inappropriate and very satanic, frankly, to have birth control right next to the chewable children's vitamins in Costco, right? Or in some gas station. It's something's wrong with society. We've gone the wrong direction. We got to fix this to bring it back.
And I think that goes to the point when you know your pharmacist or when your provider really knows you. When Megan called me, I said, no, that's not good for her. Let's look at a different avenue. Those words will come out of your provider's mouth, whether it's a pharmacist, a doctor, a dentist. Make that relationship, because if not, you're just another number, right? Walking in somewhere, picking up whatever. And that over-the-counter birth control, that's such a bigger issue, right? Of the attack on the young girl. And there's a lot of reasons why that is bad, not even just because I'm Catholic. There's a lot of reasons why it's dangerous. And I just think if you seek out someone who has your values, you and your children will always be in good hands, right?
Yeah. I love it, guys. This is good. This is what I was so hoping this episode was going to turn out like this, and it went in a great direction.
Like Harrison Butker, right? Just saying what we feel.
I love it. All right. I know it feels like we've only been talking for 5 minutes, but are you ready for the rapid fire round?
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead. I'm going to
Don't be nervous.
Most of it.
Don't be nervous. What's one resource you think every Catholic family needs to know about, whether it's online or offline?
You want to answer that?
And if you've each got one, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, personally, for me, this is not Catholic per se, but it's finding the local businesses in your community. I know that pharmacy in particular, if you want to get into a more of a Catholic pharmacy, there's the Catholic Pharmacy Association. There's the Catholic Medical Association. So you could go to those websites and start looking up providers in your area. Even if you're looking at the National Community Pharmacy Association, they will help you find all the independently owned pharmacies in your area, right? So start finding Catholic and Christian-owned businesses locally, and those are just 3 resources that you can use to try to find those.
I didn't even know those existed. That's brilliant.
I didn't for a long time either, which is a shame, right? So for me, I think every family should have the little How to Pray a Rosary book in their home. And you can pick those up for free, right? But for a long time, we did not pray the rosary as a family. And I think it is vital for our children and for us to say it together every day. So
that's awesome.
Simple resource, right?
No, it's great. I love it. What's one book that you're currently reading or that you've read somewhat recently that you'd highly recommend on any subject?
Yeah, so I'm actually reading 2 books on, I didn't know I was going to be reading 2 books, but the first one is St. Dominic and the Rosary, because Lily had a project due and she read the wrong book. So I just bed read last night. It was an awesome story though. So I thought maybe God wanted me to read about the first apparition with the Rosary. And then
phenomenal.
the other book I'm reading, which I'm going to be giving out in our pharmacy, is Generation Anxiety. It is probably one of the best books I've read in a long, long time.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. I'm anxious to read that. So all I have to do is walk into the pharmacy
Yeah,
today?
I'm going to be ordering.
Okay. I might be up there.
You're like, hon, does it come in paperback? Can we order at least the paperback?
No, but I wanted to finish it before I brought it out. But it talks about what's happened to all of our children since the dropping of the iPhone. And it's quite eye-opening to read. So
it's great. What about you, Mike? You reading
I'm not in the middle of any books right now, but I will say
7th grade math book.
My 7th grade math books. So I teach 7th grade math at the kids'
that's right.
school too. So with the 3 jobs that I have, I don't necessarily have a ton of time to read in downtime, because from kids go to bed at 9:30. From 9:30 to 1:00 in the morning, I'm doing payroll or God knows what. I'm doing all the administrative stuff for the business. So it's hard to find private reading time. But Jen got me a little devotions book that is really nice. I keep it on my stand in the morning when I'm brushing my teeth. I'll read a little devotion and kind of.
Well, I bought it and he didn't say anything, and I'm like, that is for you to read a little bit about God every day, 30 seconds.
I'm a big podcast guy. I like a good conspiracy theory. I like a good podcast. So I'll listen to podcasts on 2X as I go to and from the pharmacy. And that's right.
Oh man, you and me both.
Of my education.
I get about 1.5 times speed. That's about as much as I can take. It depends on who I'm listening to. Bishop Barron, I feel like I put him on about 2X speed. Father Mike Schmitz, it's about 1.5 at max, because he already talks.
He's already rapid.
But if you get used, that's the thing though. Do it 2X a few times. If you get used to him at 2X, then if you drop down to 1X, you're like, oh my gosh, you're talking like a sloth. Why are you talking so slow?
Oh. Totally, yeah. Same thing. I was listening to Bishop Barron, and it reverted back to 1X, and I was like, "Whoa,
exactly.
Like, what is going on?"
Yeah.
But then Megan hears it, and she's like, "How do you understand that when it's so fast?" I'm like, "Because I'm married to you, and you talk wicked fast."
That's why.
That's why I do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It just seems familiar. I don't know. Yeah. All right. I love this one. I love this one that I came up with.
I'm so good, right?
I'm so good. What's one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Do you want to go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah. This is
I love you guys. You're like, no, you jump in first. No, you jump in.
To be more faithful in a young age, right? My parents raised me in this beautiful Catholic home, but when I got to college, I would go to mass, but I wasn't always. Actually, I confessed this to Father Michael a long time ago, because it's okay, let it go. But I didn't get engaged in the Catholic Center in college, and I didn't really go deeper than going to mass. I didn't seek Catholic people to hang out with, and ironically, my first Catholic friend in college is Mikey's godmother, but God knew who I needed to be around me. But I think get more engaged when you're in college, because there are so many amazing people that will walk your faith with you openly. And it will, I think that would have been amazing.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. And
you,
I
Mike?
think for me, it's don't be afraid to be your authentic self, no matter what situation you're in. I mean, I was in corporate America for 13 years, and then we ran the pharmacy for a good 5 years or so before we really started authentically being our true Catholic selves in our, not only in our lives, but, we took that veil down. We took the divider down between work life and home life. And I think don't be afraid to do that, because God will put the right people in your life to support you and be there for you. And the ones who think you're crazy, which people think I'm crazy for some of the stuff that I come up with, but The ones that think you're crazy aren't the people that you need in your corner anyway, right? The ones
Yeah.
that you need in your corner are the ones that are going to stick with you all the time when you are being your true self. So don't
Yeah.
be afraid to be your true self in whatever situation you're in. I wish I would have done that earlier.
Oh, here. Well, for as long as I've known you, you've been nothing authentic. So, and I don't want to say crazy, but no, I'm kidding.
It takes a good
Guys,
dose of crazy every once in a while.
Yeah, I know. Before we wrap up, what's based on what we talked about today, being unapologetically Catholic, especially in the healthcare space, what's one piece of advice that you would want to leave our listeners and our viewers with?
Surround yourself with the people that have the same values that you do, and be not afraid, right? Don't be afraid to do that, and work hard to find those people, because it matters. All of it matters, right? And we're all just trying to make our way to heaven. So the more people that are around you and teach you and inspire you to be deep in our faith, I think it makes your day better, right? When you've seen people that share the same love for Christ that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to that point, we started in this hybrid homeschool model with St. John Bosco when we started taking our kids to school there. And it's the hybrid model where they're in school 2 days a week and they're homeschooled 3 days a week. But it's more than just the school. It's the community of people that we found there, right? So whether it's that, or whether it's a Valor or an Anvil Academy or one of these other, hybrid homeschool type models around, I think you got to find the community that you fit with, and they're your foxhole people, right? I mean, when everything hits the fan with society, and when you want these people to be there leading your children, and that's how you want good, solid Catholic and Christian examples in your kids' lives. So
it's changed our life. That school and community has changed our life.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, guys, that's going to have to be another episode with you guys, because we interviewed Megan Lengel about Colby Academy, which is mostly online. But would love to have you guys back on if you're up for it.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. I need to tell other people they can do it.
Yeah.
Because I definitely never thought I would.
Yeah, well, I mean, we joked with Megan Lenkel, like homeschool when we were growing up was kind of where the weird kids were, right?
Yeah.
And now it's kind of where the cool kids are. Like it's kind of reversed. A little odd, but it's
cool. We definitely should, because I think that I was afraid to do it, and he was, no, we're doing this. We're gonna figure it out. God will figure it out for us, and God did, right? So
that's awesome. Guys, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on today. If people want to get more Mike and Jen Shannon in their lives, where do they go?
So obviously Lily's Pharmacy. I mean, one of us is pretty much always in there. She's more active on LinkedIn and stuff like that. So you can find her on LinkedIn. I don't really do any of the social media stuff anymore, but the pharmacy social media page, we treat very much like our own personal page. So you get to follow our family and the goings on at the business at the same time. So as they follow us there, follow her on LinkedIn, follow, come into the pharmacy. I mean,
or visit Ball Ground, Georgia.
Yeah. Or come get coffee with us in Ball Ground, because that's what we do.
Yeah, I love it. Coming up for some eggs.
Right. Yeah, you got it.
That's awesome. Well, guys, you stick with me for a second. It's been a pleasure having you with us today. Thanks so much for being on.
Thank you for having us.
It.
Oh, absolutely. And family, modern Catholic family, for all the rest of you out there watching and listening, God bless you. Thank you for supporting us in all this. God bless you, my friends.